How's it going, everyone? In this video, we have some big news on NXT Level Up, a major WWE star potentially leaving for AEW, and a whole lot more. But before we begin, please make sure to drop a like on this video. I would really appreciate it. Alright guys, so for our first story of today, we have some very unfortunate news for 𝘍𝙀𝙀. As Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports, although AEW hoped that he would be back in time for All In after being sidelined for several months with an injury, sadly, when 𝘍𝙀𝙀 got checked out by AEW's medical team a week before All In, unfortunately he was not cleared. And as of this moment, his status has still not changed. Next up, we have some big news on if WWE is really going to cancel NXT Level Up. So with the many changes set to take place with NXT's move to the CW in October, a report recently came out stating that one of those changes would include the cancellation of NXT Level Up. However, that does not seem to be the case, because according to a new report from Corey Brennan of Fightful Select, no sources spoken to within NXT have heard of any plans to stop taping NXT Level Up. In fact, the brand actually has, quote, stacked matches for future episodes of NXT Level Up. Next, we have some big news that an AEW star could be leaving the company really soon. Because after a very lackluster run in AEW, which was plagued by many injuries and disagreements in regards to creative, according to a new report from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Miro has officially requested his release from AEW. However, as things stand right now, it remains unclear if his release has been granted. Moving on to our next story, we have some news that a major WWE star could end up leaving the company for AEW soon. Because according to a new report from Fightful Select, those spoken to within AEW have stated that the company has long had major interest in signing Kevin Owens and intend on making him an offer when he becomes a free agent at the end of the year. It was also noted that Kevin Owens has been approached by WWE regarding a new deal, but at this point in time, he has still not signed a new deal to remain with the company. So now guys, I want to give you my thoughts and opinions on all of the stories that we discussed today. Starting off with our first story, we did have kind of a small update on 𝘍𝙀𝙀's AEW return, and sadly guys, it does not look good for 𝘍𝙀𝙀 because Sean Ross Sapp did report that just a few weeks ago before AEW All In, 𝘍𝙀𝙀 was checked out to see by AEW's medical team to see if he would be able to compete at All In. However, he was not cleared, and as of this moment, 𝘍𝙀𝙀 is still his status. His injury status has not changed, and he apparently is still not cleared to return to AEW, more specifically in ring competition, which is a shame, guys, in my opinion, because I do think that 𝘍𝙀𝙀 is someone who has a ton of potential to be a big star in AEW, but I do think that 𝘍𝙀𝙀 has not been booked correctly, in my opinion. I think that when he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling, he was booked very strong, and I do think that Tony Khan has dropped the ball in terms of booking 𝘍𝙀𝙀, because I do think that he is a major star and he can be, an excellent heel champion, and it is very unfortunate that he is still not clear to return to AEW. So hopefully in the future, in the very near future, that can change. The other story that we talked about was on whether WWE is actually going to cancel NXT Level Up. NXT Level Up is a secondary show which features specifically, they feature young talent and they have them, compete in matches that instead of NXT, because this is, I guess you could say NXT Level Up is the performance center of NXT, because a lot of wrestlers who are very green compete there and they get their reps in, and then eventually they move up to NXT and then obviously the main roster. However, according to a new report from Fightful Select from Corey Brennan, he did say that recently there were rumors about NXT Level Up supposedly going to get canceled. However, Corey Brennan did say that that is not the case. In fact, NXT actually has several matches planned for future episodes of NXT Level Up. So it does look like, despite the the report of NXT, NXT Level Up getting canceled because of this new deal with Hulu, or that deal expiring with Hulu, that show would be canceled. But from the looks of it, NXT Level Up will be continuing, which is pretty good, I think, because it is another outlet aside from NXT, which gives wrestlers who are very green to work there and train and then eventually move up to NXT. So this is very good news, in my opinion. Next, we did talk about an AEW star that could end up leaving the company very soon, like really soon. And that person is Miro, who, after his WWE departure, he did make his AEW debut, and he was booked pretty strong, in my opinion. He was booked like a monster, destroying pretty much everyone. But as time went on, obviously, it was pretty evident that Tony Khan did not know how to book Miro, and also with injuries, and also I did see reports of Miro reportedly turning down some creative decisions. Apparently, he wanted to work with Jon Moxley. Tony Khan had plans for him to compete at All In. However, they could not come to terms on, creative. They could not agree on creative for his return. And now Miro is requesting his release from the company. And at this point in time, guys, it is still unknown whether Tony Khan will grant him his release. And I do think, guys, that Tony Khan should just let him go because he's not doing anything with him. And I do think that Miro as well, he's basically done with AEW. However, it remains to be seen if WWE would be interested in having Miro return to the company. That is something that I have not seen, but honestly, I would not be surprised because I do think that Miro, although his run in AEW was very, very lackluster due to many other things. I do think that WWE does see him as a potential star, as a potential big heel. So perhaps they end up, signing him if Tony Khan grants Miro his release. The other story that we talked about was that a major WWE star could end up leaving the company for AEW, and that person is none other than Kevin Owens, who did say a couple of months ago that his contract was going to expire at the end of this year, and that apparently Kevin Owens has still not re-signed a new deal to stay with WWE, and which is pretty surprising, guys, because I'm pretty sure that WWE has offered him a ton of money. However, I do think that perhaps Kevin Owens is wanting to look at what AEW is going to offer him, because Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select their report that if Kevin Owens becomes a free agent at the end of the year, AEW is very, very interested in signing him to the company, and that they are willing to offer him a contract. And I assume that it will be a very great deal for him to join the company. So it really remains to be seen if Kevin Owens will end up re-signing with WWE. My gut tells me that he will. He will be staying with WWE. However, obviously AEW is a very, very possible, destination for him. There are a lot of his friends over there, like the Young Bucks and Adam Cole and other wrestlers there who he is very friendly with. And I'm pretty sure that he would be interested to just see what Tony Khan is willing to offer him to join the company. So with that being said, guys, that is all of the news that we have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.